We've got a bit of breaking news, and it's regarding Albert Sambi Lokonga. Could we be seeing one of the more high-profile exits this summer finally starting to get moving? He could be off to Sevilla. I'm here with Robbie to discuss the update and some more other transfer news. But talking about Sambi Lokonga, it comes from Fabrizio Romano, who said that Arsenal have already approved, shall I say, the exit of Albert Sambi Lokonga. Talks are underway with Sevilla. Value of the buy clause being negotiated between clubs as player has given initial green light to the destination. Now, it's not the first time that we're hearing about Albert Sambi Lokonga to Sevilla, but it's definitely the most concrete information we've had on his potential sale. Robbie, you've been talking about him on, Transfer Daily. But this is Romano, I think, coming in basically being like, look, I'm reading between the lines here a little bit, but it feels like finishing touches, value of the buy clause. It suggests that what we had been hearing about a loan is looking likely, but Arsenal want to make sure they're getting cash at the end of it.
Yeah, I think this has been the sticking point on this deal, has been the fact that Arsenal want an obligation to buy at the end of it. So I think, when we read all the reports, even that were coming in last week, the deal had been agreed. Sambi Lokonga, who we know had a great season on loan at Luton last year, but then Luton got relegated, so he was never going to go into the Championship. I think Sambi Lokonga had agreed that he'd like to go to Sevilla, but Arsenal were like, all right, we don't just want a loan for a season. We want to move the player on and get some money for him. So that's why that's been the sticking point, and that's why it's not been able to be done yet, because, basically they want to get some money for him. So it looks like they're sort of getting over the line with this. How much is what is going to be really interesting for me to find out.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about a player who's now off on his third loan, you can remember he went to Palace, played the second half of the season. I remember he came on the FA Cup when we were playing away at Man City. We were in the title race at the time. And you could just see that the team, I don't want to be rude about Albert Sambi Lokonga because I think there's a talented player there, but the team had just gone up a level. And he, I think, was struggling. I don't think that's all his fault. We can talk about that maybe. But then he gets the full season loan at Luton. And now we're talking about a third loan. I think if there's no obligation to buy at the end of it, it would be quite disappointing because I don't see how you're getting him to sign a new contract to maintain any value. And actually, his loan spells have been quite good. I mean, at Palace, he did fine, didn't play loads, but when he did okay. And at Luton, he certainly made an impression. So, Sevilla's a good move for him. That's a big club in La Liga. And if you've got a player that you've had, you signed for 20 million, who did well on his loans, is now going to another big club in Spain, you're expecting to get money for that deal. Yeah,
100%. Listen, it hasn't worked out for Sambi Lokonga at Arsenal. Like you said, you look at him and you think to yourself, it doesn't look like it's ever going to work out for him. And then you think about the players that are in his way, in Arsenal's team. There's some significant players there, and they're looking to bring in more players in that sort of midfield area. So his chances of getting game time are getting less and less and less. This makes perfect sense. Like you said, Sevilla is a good move for him, a club with a lot of pedigree, playing over there in Spain in La Liga. And he'll be hurt right now because he would have seen Belgium go out yesterday. He wasn't part of that Belgium squad when we sort of brought him in at first. He was sort of in the Belgium squad. He wasn't in the Belgium squad. He wants to play regular football. He's not getting any younger, and it makes perfect sense, this move. But Arsenal, and I like what they do nowadays in the transfer market. They speak from a position of strength. We want some money for him. We don't want to just loan him and that's it. As like you said, from what I understand with the loan as well, that Arsenal are getting all of his wages covered as well. So that was good. When I read that, I was looking into that last week. They were saying that they were going to cover all the wages. They want a fee. They want a, obligation to buy at the end of it. So he moves on and makes space for somebody else in that midfield.
Yeah. And actually, when you look, the midfield is starting to have some real exits. I mean, just a year on from last season's midfield options, you've got El Nenny's gone. Havertz is a striker now. He's not a midfield option, though I'm sure Arteta will use him there every now and again. Lokonga is one we've talked about. Thomas Partey, loads of reports, especially in the early part of the summer, we're already in July, that were linking him moves away. Emil Smith-Rowe, some reports saying that, he's going to tell Arsenal he wants to move on. So does it encourage you? He's encouraged the word probably, but does it make you feel that Arsenal are really planning on doing something in midfield? Because this is quite a lot of players.
Arsenal are going to have a busy transfer window, right? Because as you just mentioned, the amount of players that are looking to be on the exit, I mean, they've already let go about 22 players. I know those players are fringe players, right? And academy players, but there's a lot of players potentially leaving. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you've just mentioned those midfield players. You also got Reece Nelson who's going to go. You've got Eddie Nketiah who's going to go. You know, there's a lot of players going. So they're going to have to make quite a few signings. I know a lot of people said, one or two. I think it'll be more than that. You know what I mean? I think there's going to have to be quite a few coming in. And, you know, I think this could be the sort of start of movement now for Arsenal. We've had a very quiet transfer window, as of all teams, really. But I think now that that June the 30th deadline for the PSR stuff has passed, now that some teams are exiting the Euros and coming back home, I expect over the next couple of weeks to see real movement. Arsenal's first pre-season game is, the 24th of July. That's only in a few weeks' time. They're going to want to get a few players in before that pre-season. So I think the next couple of weeks could be busy. I really do.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you can see, I've always said, without sounding, obviously, I mean, I don't have inside information. You might sometimes. But sometimes you can just like get a sense for transfers and you get a sense for when there's actually something in a rumor, when there's actually something, you know, the Calafiori stuff, for example, and there's no way I was going to get us two on a video without talking about it. But that has picked up a little bit of traction. That has been, now it could be Juventus being really clever, you know, or agents being clever to try and, you know, sort out that deal. It always feels like these Italian players we target end up at Juve, like Locatelli 3 years ago. But it does feel like things are starting to pick up. Things are starting to look at Tottenham signing Archie Gray. You got Man United with De Ligt now. Chelsea will Chelsea, won't they? And it just does feel like even Arsenal starting to maybe ramp things up. While there's nothing concrete or there's nothing close, certainly just feels like we're getting more concrete information than we were even 2-3 weeks ago. And Calafiori is the player being mentioned.
100%. And the Calafiori thing, I think there's something in that. I'm not saying we're definitely going to get him, but I do think that Arsenal are interested in him. And I think they've got a chance to get him if they really want him.
Yeah.
Because Spurs were interested. He ain't going to go to Spurs. I think they've already said that. Remember, Bologna had made the Champions League. So that's going to be a factor for him. He's not going to want to go somewhere that's not got Champions League football. The president of Bologna has already come out and said, listen, we resigned to the fact he's gone. We're not going to be able to keep hold of him. We have to be realistic and just get get the best price we can for him.
Yeah.
Juventus have got a real problem in signing him because they nicked Thiago Motta, the manager of Bologna, off of them, and Bologna are not happy about that, and they don't want to give Calafiori as well to Juventus. You can imagine their fans are not going to be too happy if not only have they got their manager, but like one of their best players as well. So the Calafiori thing, I can see him moving abroad. You know, it's very hard to see what other team he'd go to in Italy. And there's also the rumours about Jakub Kiwior. Those rumours have been out there since before the Euros. The AC Milan want him. Juventus also want him as well. And maybe it could be a thing that Calafiori comes in at Arsenal and they sacrifice Kiwior and he goes back to Italy. I'm not saying that's a definite, but I do, like you said, you get a sense that that is something that could happen. And that Calafiori looked very, very good in the Euros. And, you know, as good as Saliba, we've seen how brilliant he's been in the Euros. He locked off Lukaku last night. As good as he's been, and as good as Gabriel have been, what if there's an injury to any of those two? You always need cover. I know you got Ben White can cover, you got Tommy Asu, but if you then bring in somebody like a Calafiori, not only is that cover, that is serious competition to both of them. And that's what we want. That's how that's how you win titles. You know, and then it also gives you the option of, say you wanted to go with a back three, or it starts to. So I think that would be an amazing signing if we could get that done, the Calafiori one. I'm I'm really hoping we do that, because, you know, when you start to look at that and you go, you got those options at the back with Calafiori, Timber's back. You know what I mean? You got Ben White already. That and defenses win you leagues.
Yeah, I'm so with you. And, you know, Italy gave me a miserable Euros unlike 3 years ago. But he was about the only standout. In fact, I got a message to Calafiori because I lived in Bologna myself for a year. And London, the food's worse, the weather's worse, but I'm telling you, you'll enjoy the move. Trust me, I've done it. Take my advice. I've moved from Bologna to London. You'll be fine. It's all good.
I've actually been to Bologna myself. Bologna's a nice place, man. I've been there myself, right? But listen, I mean, there's lots of good Italian restaurants in London as well, right? So you'll be all right, man.
Fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. The last thing to round up this news update was actually something that was shared, the news shared by AFTV social accounts. It was Fabrizio Romano talking about Arteta and Arsenal. Of course, Arteta, I think we sort of are taking it for granted. He hasn't signed his new contract yet. I know that we're all confident it will happen. You know, we're being told that, you know, Arsenal will make him one of the highest paid managers in the league, and that's fine. It should reflect that and all that. But, you know, the quote from Romano is that they're planning for their future together, insinuating there's nothing to worry about. I'm not worried about it. Are you, Robbie?
No, I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? There was rumours a couple of weeks ago that Man City want him as the replacement for Pep when he goes. Well, I think he's very happy at Arsenal. I think, you know, also he's got an Arsenal, you know, board now that are giving him the resources to succeed. You know what I mean? Declan Rice last year for £100 million. They're probably going to go again in this transfer window. It's his team now. You know, I mean, you know, really, when you look at that team, that's his team. And if he wants to get rid of someone, they you know, I mean, they give him and Edu full reign to do what they want, to get rid and bring in what they want. So that's his team now. So I don't think he'd want to go to Man City. Man City still got all these charges and all that hanging over them as well. He's in a great place right now at Arsenal. He's challenged for the league for the last 2 years, nearly won it last year and the year before. Klopp's no longer at Liverpool. He's got a great opportunity to kick on and win the league. So, and you can see this guy loves Arsenal as well. He loves Arsenal. So I don't see him going anywhere. Yeah. I think we
all right, everyone. That's been the update. Just to remind you, Fabrizio Romano said that Arsenal have approved the exit of Lokonga. He will be going this summer. Talks are on their way with Sevilla. Be interested to know if any other clubs come in, but it's been Sevilla pretty much in every report we've heard. I think that is what's going to happen. The value of the buy clause is being negotiated. I'm interpreting that as it'll be a loan deal, but they're just trying to come to an agreement on what that final fee will be in the summer of 2025 when they make it official. And it'd be good to see Arsenal hopefully agree a decent fee for a player who's done well on his loan spells. Like I said, though, I had high hopes for him at Arsenal and he's underachieved, but hey ho, it happens sometimes. Big thank you, Robbie. Everyone, check out Transfer Daily. That is out every morning, and there will be a Talking Transfers live on Wednesday as well. We'll talk about Calafiori and the need for a left back and plenty more. And this Friday's In Focus, or should I say I'm recording this Friday, but look out for it across the week. There will be an In Focus on Calafiori because, hey, how often we link to Italians there? I've got to talk about it. Big thanks, everyone. Hit the like button, subscribe to AFTV, and check out all the updates coming out in the world of transfers, in the world of Arsenal transfers on this channel. See you soon.